welcome back to our channel. This is Science Lectures 256. Don't forget to like, subscribe and follow. Yes, today we are beginning new series. We are going to look at the form, structure and classification of plants. Form, structure and classification of plants. So before we look at anything else, we're supposed to know what are plants. What are plants? What do we base on to say that this is a plant? So we are going to look at the characteristics of plants. Characteristics of plants. Characteristics of plants. Characteristics of plants. Number one, for anything to be called a plant, it must be multicellular. Multicellular. On top of that, it must have chlorophyll enclosed in chloroplasts. Enclosed in chloroplasts. Chlorophyll enclosed in chloroplasts. That is why things like Euglena, though they have chlorophyll, they are not classified as plants. Number three, it is supposed to be an embryophyte. An embryophyte. That means when you have fusion of both male and female gametes, you must form an embryo that is multicellular. Number four is their cell walls are supposed to be made up of cellulose. Cell wall made up of cellulose. Number five, that is why things like mushrooms that were originally classified as plants were removed from the plant kingdom, because yes, they have cell walls, but those cell walls are made up of chitin. Then number five, their major storage product is starch. Their major storage product is starch. However, this varies for different plants, as we are going to be seeing. Yes, after having looked at that, we need to know that the plant kingdom is very diverse, but it is divided into two major groups. Number one, you have what they call the cryptogams, and you have what they call the phanerogams. Phanerogams. So the cryptogams are lower seedless plants, and these are divided into two. They are what you call bryophytes. Then you have what they call the pteridophytes. Bryophytes are where you find things like mosses and liverworts. Pteridophytes are where you find things like club mosses, whisker ferns, and the likes. Then the phanerogams are divided into two. We have what they call the gymnosperms and the angiosperms. So these are plants that produce seeds. The seeds can either be naked, as we see it in gymnosperms, or they can be produced in honey or ovary. After having looked at the divisions of the plant kingdom, now we are going to look at the common believed ancestor of all plants, and that is algae. Which algae we know is a phylum and a kingdom Protista. And we are going to look at those characteristics that are possessed by algae that distinguishes it from the plant kingdom. So we are going to look at those reasons why algae is not classified as a plant, which are characteristics of algae. Characteristics of algae. Number one, algae is autotrophic. Autotrophic. But it's anautotrophic protist. It manufactures its own food. Number two, it is a non-embryophyte. Number three, its body is thalloid. Thalloid, I mean its body is not yet differentiated into stems, roots, and leaves. Then number four, algae has unicellular organs. Or you can say that algae cells are not specialized to form tissues. Remember, it is a cell, tissue, then an organ. So the cells of algae are not yet specialized to form tissues. Then number five, algae is ubiquitous. It is found almost everywhere. After having looked at these few characteristics of algae, I want us to discuss the various algal habitats. The various algal habitats. So algae occupies three major types of habitats. Three major types of habitats. Number one, algae can be found on land, or what they call terrestrial. Then number two, algae can be found in water, what they call aquatic algae. Then algae can also be found in unusual habitats. So algae is either terrestrial, aquatic, or the one that is found in unusual habitats. Then the aquatic algae is divided into two. Number one, you have what they call lentic algae and lotic algae. So lentic algae is the one that you find in moving waters, for example, in stagnant waters, for example, on ponds, in lakes, and the likes. Then lotic algae is the one we find in moving waters, for example, in streams, in rivers. Then terrestrial algae is also divided into two. We have algae that is found under the soil. That is what we call cryophytic algae. Then we have algae that is found on top of the surface. That is what we call sapophytic algae. Algae that is found on the surface. Then algae also occupies unusual habitats, and these are the many. Number one, we have algae that is found that grows on top of others. We call that epiphytic algae. Algae that grows on top of others. Then we have algae that grows on top of animal surfaces. We call that epizoic algae. Then we still have algae that grows in animal surfaces. We call that endozoic algae. Then we still have algae that grows on rocks. We call that lithophytic algae. Then see, we have algae that grows on top of snow. We call that caryophytic algae. Then still we have algae that forms association with other organisms. We call that symbiotic algae. For example, a lichen. We know lichen is an association between algae and fungi, and both of them benefit from the relationship. That is why it is symbiotic. Then we still have algae that grows in high temperatures. We call that thermophytic algae. Then we still have algae that grows in areas with a high salt concentration. We call that halophytic algae. So what you've seen here is a general overview of the various algal habitats. Algae that is terrestrial, aquatic, and that grows in unusual habitats. We have caryophytic and sapophytic, lentic, lotic, epiphytic, epizoic, endozoic, lithophytic, symbiotic, caryophytic, thermophytic, and halophytic algae. So after having seen that, next we are supposed to look at reproduction in algae. How does algae reproduce that distinguishes it from other members of the plant kingdom? So algae reproduces using three major mechanisms. Number one, algae reproduces vegetatively. It reproduces asexually, and reproduces sexually. So algae reproduces vegetatively, sexually, and asexually. So vegetative reproduction is where you just have breaking away of a certain portion of the protoplasm and it forms a new organism. And algae reproduces vegetatively using two things. Number one, it can reproduce using fission. Non-fission, it can reproduce using fragmentation. So under fission, these are the daughter, the cell will undergo mitosis to form two daughter cells, and each daughter cell will grow to form a new organism or a new type of algae. And here fragmentation, a portion of algae will break away from the parent and form a new organism. So algae also reproduces sexually, and a sexual reproduction in algae is what we call sporulation. And sporulation is the formation of spores. And algae produces different types of spores. It produces two major types of spores. We have what they call the zoospores, and we have what they call the aplanospores. As you hear zoo is definitely something moving. So algae produces spores that are motile. These are motile spores. And they swim away from the parent. They swim away from the parent, and swim away from the parent. When they reach somewhere, they will develop to form a new algae. If I try to illustrate them, it would look like this, because they have flagella, So these are zoospores. If I forget, a group of spores is called a sporangium. So what you have here, these are the zoospores, and this is what you call the zoosporangium. So algae produces motile spores, but it also produces non-motile spores, which are called the aplanospores. Non-motile spores. What are we call the aplanospores? And the aplanospores are of different types. Number one, you have what they call the tetraspores. So these ones are born in groups of four. Born in groups of four. So you have a tetrasporangium, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are tetraspores. Number two, you have what they call the autospores. And we have what they call the hypnospores. So these autospores, for them, they first acquire parental characteristics. Before they leave the parent. So autospores are spores that first acquire parental characteristics before swimming away to form new organisms. Then hypnospores are thick cell-walled spores. If I try to draw, to illustrate them here, it look like this. They have three layers. They have 3 layers on their cell wall. So those are the hypnospores. Just a recap, algae reproduces vegetatively and asexually. Vegetatively, I've said, is fragmentation and fission. Under fragmentation, we say just a portion breaks away. Then you have said mitosis. Under asexual reproduction, we say it is what they call sporulation, where you have formation of spores. The spores are either motile or non-motile. For the motile ones, they are called zoospores. and the non-motile ones are called the planospores. The planospores are of 3 different types: tetraspores, autospores, and hypnospores. Tetra, born in groups of 4. Auto, they first acquire parental characteristics. Hypno, they are thick, cell-walled spores. And we say a group of spores is what we call a sporangium. Next, after having seen both vegetative and asexual, next we will look at sexual reproduction in algae. And sexual reproduction in algae is the most advanced form of reproduction in algae. And it is of 3 different types. Number 1, it is either by isogamy, anisogamy, or what they call oogamy. So algae reproduces sexually by isogamy, anisogamy, or oogamy. So isogamy is the fusion of gametes. That are morphologically similar. But physiologically different. So that is a isogamy. Fusion of gametes that are morphologically similar but physiologically different. And when I have this gamete fusing with this gamete, they form what you call a zygospore. Then, in the next form of reproduction is anisogamy. Anisogamy is now the fusion of gametes. Here we have fusion of gametes, that differ in number, size, and motility. That is anisogamy. Fusion of gametes that differ in number, size, and motility, whereby the smaller in size, more motile, and many are what you call microgametes. And the larger in size, less motile, and smaller in number are what you call the macrogametes. So if I have this gametangium of these ones are the smaller ones in size, and I have them fusing with this gametangium of the bigger ones, but very less motile. They also form what they call a zygospore. So both anisogamy and isogamy are the primitive forms of sexual reproduction. Now we move to oogamy. Oogamy is the most advanced form of reproduction in algae. It's the most advanced form of reproduction in algae. Under oogamy, we shall have fusion of antherozoids, and the ovum. Fusion of both the antherozoids and the ovum. So these antherozoids, let's talk about the antherozoids briefly. Antherozoids, they are small in size. They are very motile. In fact, they are motile and many. They are small in size, motile and many, and they are produced by what we call the antheridium. produced by the antheridium. Those are the antherozoids. Now let's talk of the ovum. The ovum is number one. It is non-motile, and it is one. Non-motile and very large. And it is produced by the oogonia. So if I have my antherozoid fusing with the ovum, these two will form what we call an oospore. As when you contrast with these two that form a zygospore, and this one also forms a zygospore. Here we shall have formation of an oospore directly. Just to recap, algae has three forms of sexual reproduction: isogamy, anisogamy, and oogamy. Here we have fusion of gametes that are morphologically similar but physiologically different. Here we have fusion of gametes that differ in number, size, and motility. Here we have fusion of both the antherozoids and the ovum to form an oospore.